Your heart stops. Not gradually, not like a candle fading, it just stops, mid-beat, and for the next few seconds, you are not breathing. Your blood is not moving, and by every legal definition on the planet, you are dead. But here's what almost nobody knows. Your brain doesn't stop. Not immediately, not even close. In fact, in the seconds after your heart stops, something happens inside your skull that scientists only discovered by accident, and it changes everything we thought we understood about the line between life and death. In 2013, a neuroscientist named Jimo Borjigin at the University of Michigan was running an experiment on rats, measuring brain activity as their hearts were stopped. She expected the readings to flatline, the way every textbook said they would. Instead, she watched the brain activity spike. Not weakly, dramatically. Within the first 30 seconds after cardiac arrest, the rats' brains produced a massive surge of gamma wave activity. The same type of brainwave associated with heightened consciousness, focus, and vivid perception in a fully awake human. The dying brain wasn't shutting down, it was lighting up. Borjigin repeated the experiment on humans who died in hospital settings while connected to EEG monitors, and she found the same thing. In the moments after the heart stops, the human brain produces a burst of organized, synchronized electrical activity, far more organized than what you'd expect from a brain that's supposedly powering off. Some researchers believe this is the biological explanation for one of the most consistent phenomena in human history, the life flash. For centuries, people who nearly died have described the same experience. Their entire life replayed, not in vague fragments, but in vivid, rapid detail, memories stacked on top of each other, compressed into a few seconds of subjective time. In 2022, doctors in Estonia were monitoring the brain of an 87-year-old man undergoing treatment for a seizure. Unexpectedly, his heart stopped. It was the first time anyone had recorded continuous brain activity during an actual human death, not an experiment, not a simulation. In the 30 seconds before and after his heart stopped, his brain produced the exact rhythms associated with memory retrieval, meditation, and dreaming. The researchers, led by Dr. Ajmal Zemar, published the findings and said this pattern might explain why people so often report their life flashing before their eyes. The brain, starved of oxygen, doesn't collapse. It searches. It pulls up everything it has, all at once, like a library catching fire and every book falling open at the same time. But the brain isn't the only thing still working. Your hearing is. In hospice care, nurses have known this for decades, long before science caught up. Patients in the final hours of life stop responding to touch, stop opening their eyes, stop reacting to their name, but their brainstem, the most primitive, most stubborn part of the nervous system, keeps processing sound until almost the very end. Doctors at hospitals worldwide now operate under the same guiding principle. Assume the dying can hear you, right up until they're gone. Families are told, quite literally, that hearing is the last sense to go. This is not folklore. Auditory studies on unresponsive and dying patients have recorded measurable brain responses to sound, even when every other system has gone silent. So somewhere in that final stretch, while your body is shutting down organ by organ, while your blood pressure collapses and your kidneys stop filtering, and your skin goes cold, you may still be listening to the voices in the room, to whatever they're saying about you. This is where it gets stranger. In 1975, a psychiatrist named Raymond Moody published a book called Life After Life, based on interviews with over 100 people who had been clinically dead and revived. He didn't invent the near-death experience. He just gave it a name. What struck him wasn't that people had these experiences. It's that the details were nearly identical across different countries, different religions, different ages. A sensation of leaving the body, moving through darkness, sometimes described as a tunnel, a brilliant light, an overwhelming feeling of peace, meeting figures who felt familiar, and then a boundary, an edge they couldn't cross, before being pulled back into their body. In 2014, a massive study called AWARE, led by Dr. Sam Parnia at NYU Langone, tracked over 2,000 cardiac arrest patients across multiple hospitals to study consciousness during clinical death. Parnia found that a significant percentage of survivors reported some form of awareness during the period when their heart had stopped, and they were, by every medical measure, dead. Some described watching their own resuscitation from above, and in a small number of cases, doctors were able to verify specific details the patient described, sounds, conversations, actions in the room, that they should have had no way of perceiving. Parnia doesn't call this proof of an afterlife. He calls it evidence that death is not a single moment. It's a process, one your brain actively participates in, right up until the final flicker. which raises the question nobody wants to ask out loud. If your brain is still working, still listening, still replaying your memories, are you still you, even after your heart has stopped? Here's the part that should terrify you and comfort you at the same time. Every animal on this planet dies. But you are the only one who knows it's coming. Chimpanzees grieve. Elephants return to the bones of their dead, but no other species organizes its entire civilization around the fact of its own mortality, builds religions, writes wills, buries its dead with rituals passed down for 100,000 years. Anthropologists have found deliberate burial sites in places like Shanidar Cave in Iraq, dating back over 60,000 years. Bodies arranged with flowers and tools, evidence that even Neanderthals understood something we're still trying to make peace with. Death awareness might be the single most defining trait of being human, more than language, more than tools. It's the terror that built cathedrals, the fear that invented gods, the deadline that made you actually call your mother back. And now scientists are telling us something even stranger. The moment itself, the one you've spent your whole life dreading, might not be an ending at all. It might be the most active, most alert, most alive your brain has ever been.